Hello and welcome to the Any Art Netty cooking channel, and I'm Netty. Now in this video I'm making from scratch a keema naan. You can make this with either beef, lamb or any mince that you prefer really. Now keema means mince, and also there's a variation on that with aloo keema, with aloo meaning potatoes, and it's also served with peas as a curry. And it can also be used as a filling for samosas. So I've got all my ingredients together here. There's two parts to this. There's the dough and there's the keema stuffing, which is the mince. Now I'm making this for 2 large keema naans, but you can make 4 smaller ones out of this if you wish. So I'm adding a sachet of Easy Bake yeast there to 125 millilitres of milk, which is heated up to about 40 to 46 degrees Celsius, and a tablespoon of caster sugar there for the yeast to feed on. So getting to the keema stuffing, I've got 300 grams of minced beef there, or you can use whatever mince that you want. And I'm just adding there half an onion which has been diced, a teaspoon of fresh coriander which has been diced as well, and 4 cloves of garlic which I've minced. So I'm adding 1 teaspoon of coriander powder to that as well. And salt and pepper to taste. I just filled that so it was coming off loose, so yeah. I'm just going to mix that now all together with my hands to bring it all together, just the way you would with meatballs, say. You could also add to that as well 2 teaspoons of whole cumin seeds as well for that extra bit of flavour, and if you want it to be spicy you could add red chili powder, more pepper, and whichever chilies that you wanted as well to add that extra bit of spice. Oh, and also an extra bit of flavour would be a teaspoon of ginger powder, or maybe half a tablespoon of fresh ginger. So now that's all incorporated, I'm going to pop that in a bowl, a smaller one, and pop it in the fridge and finish off making the naan dough. So into a bowl I'm going to add 300 grams of flour. Now what I've done is I've mixed up 150 grams of bread flour, 150 grams of self-raising flour. Now that yeast has been fermenting for about 10-15 minutes, and I've added that to the bowl now. It's ready. It really does well if you add the sugar to that. I'm now adding 2 heaped tablespoons of a Greek style yoghurt. Now if you prefer dairy free, you can add a dairy free yoghurt such as Alpro. I'm just adding a tablespoon of salt there, which will add more flavour to the dough. And 1 whole egg. I'm also adding 1 tablespoon of oil. I just use vegetable oil there. And I'm going to incorporate that all together. And to bring it all together like your usual bread dough, just going to add a light smattering of flour onto the surface and knead that all together as you would with any bread dough. Now with this keema naan, the middle of it with the mince, you can actually, if you want to, fry all those ingredients together in the pan, but you would have to make sure that all the moisture was taken out of that. But what I prefer to do, and the method which is usually done, is to put that mince in raw. So I went with that method, and you put it into a hot pan, as hot as can be, and it steams the meat inside, and it means that it's much more juicy. You can also cook the naans in the oven, but I preferred to use the pan method. So I'm just going to get the bowl there and put in a little bit of oil. That's just to make sure that the dough doesn't stick to the bowl. And I'm going to pop the dough there into the bowl. Cover it with cling film and make sure the inside of that is oiled so that the dough doesn't stick to the inside of the cling film. And I'm going to leave that until it doubles in size, which it's absolutely freezing in the UK at the minute, so it took about 2 hours, whereas it should take you about 45 minutes to an hour usually. So we leave that aside now. Now I will pop this recipe in the description below so you can print it off. There will be some colouring sheets and things like that in there, and you can sit down while you're waiting for your dough and have a colour in and relax. Might do some puzzles as well, we'll see what happens. So 2 hours later, I divided that dough. You can divide that into 4 if you want smaller naans, and just pop one of them aside there. Now what I wanted to show you, and I wanted to show my partner who these were for, was how big that naan bread was going to be, because I can go, well, it's this size, but I wanted to show him actually what size that was. So I'm just going to roll this out for you now, as you can see. So that's what was happening while I was filming this. So he was able to see then, right, we'll freeze one and I'll have the other another time, or if he wanted 2 of them. So just the one was enough because they were rather big. So what I will do is flatten that and make sure the sides are all nice. Roll it out to the desired shape. Now I've done the traditional, what I call the traditional teardrop shape, you can see there. And so I'm just rolling that out again once I've showed him, and pop the mince on the inside. So I get half of that mince. I think I'd probably, if I did that again, I'd use half the amount of mince. It might have been a tiny bit too thick, but not much in it at all. Well, he said he really liked them, so I did the same again. Now this is the bit where you think, well, how does that meat get inside the naan bread? So you just literally put, say, a tennis ball of dough and a golf ball size of the meat, and put that in there and just start rolling it. Now if it does split and the meat comes through, just get a tiny bit of dough off the edge, because there's quite a bit there, and you can use it to cover up any holes on there, so no worries at all. Now some nice things as toppings on this could be some fresh coriander, maybe some garlic butter, and you could put onion seeds, maybe 1.5 tablespoons between the two, and 1.5 tablespoons between the two naans of sesame seeds. Now I've just poked some holes into the top of that just for the fun of it. Now it's just so what will happen is I will cover the top in, sprinkle it in water, and the other side, the second side, I'll coat in oil. It'll hit the pan face down with the water with that dotted side, and it'll sizzle, and it should bubble. You should see bubbles coming through. After about 2 minutes, flip it over to the other side, which is the oiled side, but we'll see that in a minute anyway. So I'm just shaping the second one there. Hopefully not, and I didn't have any trouble with any meat poking through or anything like that. It was brilliant. So like I say, you can cook them in the oven, but I found that because I used the self-raising flour, that was more to make it nice and soft, to help with the texture. Made it more fluffy. So there it is, it's water side down where I sprinkled the water on it, and there was bubbles starting to appear on the top of the oiled side. I flipped that over, maybe cooked it a bit too much, but I was a little bit worried that the meat wouldn't properly cook inside thoroughly, if you get what I mean. But it did, it's fine, and I'll show you in a minute. I'll cut into it in half. So it's on the oiled side now, and it's cooking on that side, 2 minutes each side, as hot as you can get that pan. So there we are, cooking away lovely. Now you can brush on the top of that with butter or garlic butter and serve it immediately. Now I served it with a curry, a Karalan curry, and that will be coming very, very soon, the recipe for that. And now you get to see, whoops, nearly. I'll try that again. Whee, as if by magic. It flips back into the pan. Let's try again. Ooh, that ever so nearly ended up on the stove. Right, there we go. It's on the plate now anyway. It's safe. It's fine. And I'm going to cut in half to show you. I'm just going to cut that in half now so you can see it. And there we go, it's thoroughly cooked and there's no worries. It's just almost as if it's steaming it inside, so it's really, really juicy. So thank you so much for watching. Again, the recipe will be in the description below to print off and download on your phone. I just forgot which stove was hot then. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now. Corral and curry coming very soon.